I hope Non and Mark should be experienced or have been heard about the words case study already, right? In
Oh,
your experience.
yes.
And these terms, case study research, what do you think is which field of study or which area of study or which discipline that's always use the words case study? Which field?
Mm, research.
Okay, I mean the discipline or the subject, like you know, nursing, education, architecture. What do you think? Which discipline or which field of study that's always use the words case study or even case? They study the case. So,
Mm, I think it can be many fields.
for example,
Like for example, maybe when there's an experiment like
uh-huh,
in something,
uh-huh,
uh, we can use our knowledge from the case study before in the field of science.
mm-hmm.
There's also the field of uh, nursing and also mm,
Okay, thank you, ครับ I will say case study research is not originally created by library and information science or information studies. We borrow these kinds of research method from social science, right? And that's why you can see the business, right? Business case. Yeah. And you say management or business studies, they always use the case, right? As a research method. They some kind of analyze the case and report the case, maybe successful businessman or successful company, or the failure of some kinds of bitcoins. They have the case. They generate case report a lot, right? Or case analysis. I mean, in the business world. And I will say the medicine or the medical, right? Some kinds of symptoms, disease, or additional some kinds of special group of patients. It's a case. So you have to be good or bad case, right? The best and the worst case that we can study, right? So we borrow this kind of research method from maybe social science in general, right? Or even from the medicines or the medical science, like Non says, nursing, right? You have to take care of old people or seniors people,
that's
right? This is a case. This is a case. So you try to take care of Alzheimer patients. This is a case. Everything is a case, right? And you mentioned the word experiment. Sometimes the experimental research, they didn't say case, but they use the words instead subject, right? Subject. Or if non you enjoy watching psychopath movie, right? They have some kind of human subject, right? Human subject. Hmm? Mark or Non, if you have you subscribe the Netflix series, you have to watch. I mean, Stranger Things. Stranger
oh,
Things, yeah, and the 11,
I,
yeah, the girl number 11, she's a case. He's a case. Yeah, he's a human subject. But for experimental research, they use the word human subject rather than the case, right? But I would say for information research or library and information science, information studies research, we use the case in a similar meaning we use in the business study or management science, right? So case can be person, case can be organization, case can be a project. Yeah, everything can be the case. But why you study the case? Because sometimes the case is so typical, very unique, very successful, very, you know, the big loser that you have to learn the lesson from them, right? So this is the case for our the research field, not the experimental. And but no, you okay? I mean, for me, it's for the medicine or the medical research or psychology. They all sometimes they use a case 1, case 2, and yeah, but the case is a human subject only, right? They try to test something or train someone, right, with some kinds of variables. They try to control the variables. Yeah, that's why we have to apply for the research ethics, right, for the case study as well. So before we start the class, Mark Non told me that he consults the research proposal development with Ajahn M or Ajahn Sawapha about tourism information management, and maybe this can be you can use the case study research method now. Because Non, you just pick up some interesting case to study, right? I mean, maybe successful tourism industry, something like that, as a case. So I will conclude at the moment that the case can be person, can be organization, or even can be the projects or events, or incidents. Everything can be the case. That's why you can see case surround us a lot, right? I mean, in the research world or academic world, we always use a case, but sometimes we mean this different definition, right? Because you use the different definition with the same word case. It depends on your field of study that you can use. But yeah, we borrow case study from the business and management science. Yeah, I think so. At the case. Okay. We show cases can be, persons, organizations, projects, events, and etc. Can be the case. And maybe you wonder, we can study single case?
Single case.
And Non, can you have a case? We can study single case, single person?
We can, but we shouldn't do that because I think in most cases we should not, because if we study one case, we will, like, the details may not be enough.
Yeah. Please go on. What any reasons?
I think that studying multiple cases can make us see like a bigger picture of what we are gonna do the research about.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you, Non. You're right. I mean, if you study the person as case, maybe single case not enough, right? Yeah. In Thailand, we have maybe long-term TV programs they call Kon Kon Kon. The human in search, the human searching for the human, right? Or something like that. And we have a video log that record everyday life of one person in one day, right? What's really happened in one day for each person. This is single case, but as Non explained that sometimes for the research and the audience, there will be questions about you why you use only single case, because you can't compare with others, right? And yeah, but I will say if you study one organization, should be okay, but for the person, yeah, like Non explained, you should be not suitable for the research, for your research project, because it's only single one, right? And yeah, but for the single organization, only one should be okay, because each organization has many departments, right? Or sections. That's fine. They have a lot of organizational staff that you can study, right? But you say, oh, a case study of bank A, or a case study of hospital A, a case study of hotel B, something like that. This should be okay if you study a single organization for your case study research. Yeah. And I love the word that you use, multiple cases. That's why we have to, I will suggest you to do a multiple case research study instead, because at least we can compare among 4 cases, right? But I will say, I mean, especially the person or the people, this is very good decision to use a multiple cases to check or balance, or try to find the similarity or differences among 4 cases, 6 cases, or 10 cases, right? It should be okay. But if we study the organization, maybe it's a big trouble for you, for a solo researcher, right? It's very hard. You can study a big name, 4 big name companies, should be very hard. And maybe your time scale to finish your thesis should be tight. So don't do that. But try to scope. I will recommend you that you can choose multiple cases when you study the person or personal behavior, human behavior, right? Or personal or habit patterns, something like that. But if you study organization, should be a single organization should be enough for you. Otherwise, you have a big trouble, a big burden to do that things. Okay, case studies. When we use the case study, Non, can you have guess now? Again. When you can use or choose case study research for your project. When?
Case study, when we do like we want to find like our hypothesis. We like have hypothesis about something, some information, and we want to confirm if that's true or not. So we find a case study to confirm that it has really happened before.
Sometimes, for the big project or large research project, we can start with case study research first, or case study research methods first. Yeah, to develop the hypothesis and design the survey research to test them sometimes. So it's not about only case study research method that you use. I mean, in the large research project, right? So you can choose many methods or multiple research methods in one project. But actually, a case study, sometimes they just want to answer the research question how and why. So if you got research questions, start with the words how. How do secondary students study at home during COVID-19? How? So you need case study, right? Because study from home, sometimes you have to looking for the case that they can afford internet or computer devices, right? Yeah, you can't study student in rural area or in the countryside, right? Because it's impossible, something like that. So, but you have to you want to find answer to the research question. Start with why, how and why. Yeah. How do secondary students study at home during the COVID-19? Why they prefer to, study face-to-face, something like that. So you have to design the research by using case study research methods to answer how and why question. But for the survey, maybe we start with what, right? What are factors? I mean, the people in Bangkok enjoy staying at home during the COVID-19, something like that. We try to answer the research question with what, right? What and how many, right? Or how often, how frequently, right? That is I would say frequencies of the data, right? So you need a survey. But for a case study, yeah, you just ask how and why. So if you thinking about the tourism study, how did some tourism industry, or how can some tourism industry survive, or some hotels survive after the COVID-19? Yeah, you just ask and you choose case study research method as your methods in the research proposal. Should be okay. And ask the reason, right? Why they do that, something like that. So you need a case study as well. But you cannot study every hotel in Bangkok, right? Because it's very tough and there are many. So that's why you just choose a case. If you ask me, I will choose a case, 2 cases for successor or succeeding hotels, and 2 cases for falling or fallen hotels, right? Just try to just non-say try to compare success story or failure stories. This is a very good example for case study research method that you can choose. Yeah. So at the moment, non, I mean for your research interest or for your, for your topic now, you want to ask how and why or what or how many? I mean for your research interest now at the moment. Now, what do you think? Your research question can be what and how many or how and why?
I think for mine is I think it's why.
Why? Yeah.
Why?
สวัสดีครับมาร์ค Okay, we got the message เราจะโอเคครับ so you can turn on your microphone right that's all okay that's fine
Because
okay ครับ before Mark joined and non just talking about the basics of case study research methods and we just say oh when we use the word case the case can be person organization projects or event that you study but for the person maybe we not like to do a research just for a single person or only one person right because you can't compare don't just explain to us so we can compare or contrast with only one case but for the organization it's okay you can use a case study or one organization as a case yeah and uh, when you have research question with how and why maybe case study research should be suitable for your research design or for your research project and you think now at the moment you have a research topic that you feel interested in so maybe you can use case study to answer your research question why right? Why they do that but the questionnaire cannot cannot serve this purpose no I don't think so why because you offer I would say you offer them the answer already right because they have to tick in the box right or you answer A B C D choices that you have the multiple choices for them so you can't find the reason why they do that so this is could be the case study that can serve your research project especially when you have a research question with how and why and if you look at the case study method that I show on the screen this is a case study research design for information studies or information system so you can read it later Raya Fidel she's a expert in human information interaction so they try to develop a pattern model of online searching behaviors she pick up some cases right as a representative of information searchers in each group and try to develop the pattern model for that thing you can read it later And the sad news, we have a second reading assignment, Non and Mark. Yeah, but should be okay because no choice. Yeah. Okay. You can type. Okay, but you can feel shocked now, Mark. We have a second reading assignment, but I promise it's not difficult to find case study research paper because always use a case study, a case analysis in the title of the article. Yeah, so I think you can find case study research paper easily. And yeah, I wanna remind both of you that you have to choose and evaluate an article of case study research that related to your interest or to your research topic at the moment. So maybe it should be, help. What did the authors do? How do the authors justify the reason why they decided to collect and analyze the data in that way? And the final one, you have to reply us that what are the most and the least convincing aspect of their methods. At the beginning, Non asked me about our previous class because you learn documentary research method, right, from Ajahn Naya. And maybe you can see the most and the least convincing aspect of their methods, like a document. I just discussed this with Non, and I want to repeat this point to you, Mark. For the most convincing aspect of documentary research, sometimes, it's created by the third party. So maybe you can separate yourself as a researcher from the participants, right, or the research participants, especially for history research. Well, sorry, we use the document or documentary research method in the history, in the field of history context, right, historical context. So the owner of documents in the ancient or in the past, maybe you cannot relate or connect with them, right? Because we were born in a different time. No, so maybe when you study the past, right, it's quite comfortable. You can feel comfortable because they are pass away. They pass away now. So yeah, you can separate your thinking, right, with the in the past. But yeah, but that's why this is to be the most convincing aspect for me when you choose the documentary research, because they're very convincing, because we are different generation, so no bias. But bear in mind that sometimes you can't choose, I would say, value or norms or traditions in the contemporary in the contemporary issues or contemporary time, right, with the past. So it's unfair, unbiased but unfair for me. That is the least convincing aspect for document research for me. Let me give you some example. When in Thailand 100 years ago, you can't talking about human rights, you can't talking about LGBTQ plus rights. Yeah, you can't, or even slaves, or even kind of some kind of, because it's unfair. Yeah, in the past, human rights should be not, not recognized by the ancient people. So sometimes your judgment not fair to the past. for the ancient people sometimes. This is, I will say, the least convincing aspect for me for the documentary research. So how about case study research? It depends on you, Non and Mark. The most and the least convincing aspect of case study research method. What happened?
Actually, I'm looking for the modern data archiving technique architecture case study, but most of the thing I found is like historical archiving. So what my thinking is it might be a bit different from the modern structure is digitalized archiving. And also the historical archiving is like is like a library physical archiving. So yeah, this is what I'm looking for right now, is like a so more on modern archiving. Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't know what kind of word it should be used, like archiving architecture or something like that.
You make the point. That's why that's why you want to research on
Yes,
architectural
Sachin
archive.
is yeah, it's quite difficult. Because I'm also thinking about to what is a systematical approach to provide in within the capacity building for data archiving structure. So I still cannot find it.
Yeah, that's maybe so challenging, right? Because when we talk about, when we talk about the documents, I always thinking about text, right? It's a textual data. But yeah, Mark, you make a point. But when you study visual data, sometimes I will say we can use different criteria or different kinds of judgment between, it's quite different between textual or visual data. Yeah, you make a point. That's why, yeah, you can develop these kinds of interest to be your research proposal in the future, right? Okay, good luck for you. Okay, crap. This is your bad news for Non and Mark. This is a second assignment. Every week when we learn new research methods, and you have to, to follow the instruction and submit that's kind of, article analysis, right? You analyze it and the article that use research method after you learn. This is bad news for you. Okay, and it's time to enjoy the case study research. That I try to make it fun. Don't think too much. Don't worry about, I assign you I don't want the marking your score, right? So that's fine. Don't think too much. Okay. Oh yeah, sure. This is today is the deadline, right? So the deadline for the first assignment. I just wait for both of you already submit the assignment. I will be talking about the feedback or give you some comments about your first assignment. Yeah. Wait and see. Okay, crap. And don't think too much, because this is documentary research should be your, was your the first assignment. So maybe we can make mistakes, right? But don't think too much. We just learning by doing, right? So we can learn from the mistakes. That's fine. It's okay. But hopefully for the next or the second assignment should be okay, because case study research is quite easily. That's why I say they identify a case research method into the research title, right? Or into the research article title already. So that's quite easy to find one. Okay. Let me introduce our in-class activity. Number one. It's I will say it's what facts about homeless people, and I will let you watch a movie clip. This is I will say a good one, a good movie that talking about or communicate the message of public library or public librarians. Yeah, public library. And yeah, it's take only 2 minutes to watch. So I will broadcast the video for you first, just for 2 minutes. And this is the case study as well. So if you were the actor in this film, or if you were the public librarian in this film or in this movie, what you can do to this problem? Just just watch and think carefully. Okay.
Tanner, is the movie muted? Acha อาจารย์
Okay. Oh, no voice. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I will tell you.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I forgot to check chat sound. Sorry. Again, sorry.
I need a color photograph of George Washington.
I'm looking for a globe of the Earth. Isn't there a life-size one?
I'm looking for a list of laws I can break that would send me back to jail for a couple of months.
Morning, Nick.
Morning, Mr. Goodson.
It must be really nice to have a job where you get to sit around and read all day.
It's all drunks and crazy people.
Sir, you're gonna have to put your clothes back on. Are you gonna do something about this? Because he's kind of ruining the song for me.
The homeless man was found dead outside the public library.
When it gets this cold, I don't know why they don't just let us stay here.
Mr. Goodson, I gotta talk to you.
There's not enough shelter for us people on the street.
Who is us?
We could all come stay at your place.
There are a lot of cop cars. Is everything all right?
Patrons are staging an action.
The library has not been sanctioned an official emergency shelter.
So now is probably not a great time to come and get my library card.
So come on down. Bring your sky.
This is Detective Bill Ramsden. Sooner or later, you're gonna have to open that door.
They're not coming out of there unless we make them.
I am not prepared to be in a standoff with a cop.
You're the one who's always like, vive la resistance.
This is bigger than riding the metro and getting organic food.
We're a public library, not a shelter for the homeless.
Why do all this? For what?
Let them know that we still matter.
Use it to get some food, maybe a room.
You're gonna offer me money and then tell me what to do with it? How you know what I need? Tell them this is some peaceful demonstration.
Look, why don't you just hand the phone to the guy that's doing all the talking?
I don't want to talk to the police.
Okay, this is the case. This is the case. And the case study research can help frontline public library staff and managers to, understand and serve many homeless individuals better. If you say this is the case, it's really happened, especially the public library becomes an emergency shelter for homeless people. So sometimes, this group of people sometimes is quite look harmful to the other users. Right? Sometimes they didn't allow them to go into the public library. Yeah, sometimes, but at the moment they have harsh weather or serious climate change, so they need to go to the public library as an emergency shelter in the film. So case study research can help the library staff and managers to cope with this situation or emergency. Maybe Mark, you have a advantage now to deal with the emergency case like this. So
Yeah.
what I want to ask you, what kind of suggestions or even policies or even guidelines that can solve this emergency problem to the public library? What kind of the hat that you can wear, yeah, as a librarian who try to protect the library building, or you are just marked dead for your life, you are humanitarian or voluntary social service worker, right?
I actually, it's similar experience we have faced in our country. It is about one emergency case is occurring in the Rakhine states. Some IDP, they are starting to use the school as their shelter. So what normally the authority they have been done is, the first point is the school cannot operate for the children at the moment. So what they are doing is they are organizing some of the space within the school for systematically, and also they moving some of the staff to the valuable staff of the school to the certain restricted area within the school. So they make some restriction. This area is not touchable by the IDB or something other. So the authority has to come together with the security and safety. And at the same time, they are also trying to approach to the neighborhoods like a monastery or any other space is available for the shelter, for the movement within the short period. So normally the business need of the emergency response are like a shelter, water, sanitation, hygiene, and non-food item. So this is the business need. So the business need, they have to respond and to protect from the valuable resources of the location. So otherwise it will damage. Of course, people are grabbing everything and taking the space whatever they want. It's a very big, because there is no rule and no system, so there must be some authority to control that one.
Oh, yeah, yes, good. Yeah, this, you are, hands-on experience, right? It's some kinds of, like a dilemma, right, between your responsibility in that place and some kinds of, humanitarian reason, try to help people from that case. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Thank you for sharing your direct your direct experience. Yeah.
Thanks.
Non, your turn. How about your suggestions to to these kinds of the case?
So people are trying to like attack the library because they want they are escaping from the bitter cold, right?
Yeah. So if you vote him, you will get rid of the homelessness people, kick them out to the building, or you just have a very warm welcome to them. But just Mark says some kinds of group of people, sometimes they it's very hard to organize or to cope with them, because it's quite such a chaotic situation, right? Sometimes.
One of my suggestion, like this case, is normally people are looking for the where the power is located, that kind of in this kind of situation. So the power mean how to control that people. So normally the power is within the organization who is holding the weapon, or religious leader or community leader or something like that. So there are the different kind of power people, so they can only control and influence that people. So we are looking for the power is located. For example, the conflict is like a religious conflict, so normally the religious leader are influencing on that, so we have to approach them.
Yeah, I agree with that, especially in this case. In this case study, sometimes the public librarian, they are, I would say, government officers as well, because the public libraries are government office, or government in the government sector. So that's why they try to, they use power to maintain the rules, or to keep the library in peace. Sometimes with it's not the weapon, right? It's not a good example, but it's just some kinds of regulation or rules. Yeah, sometimes. But for the people in general, right? Let's say we have to care about some homeless people who lack of facilities or even helpless. it's just not helpful or hopeless to do something. Yeah, and we try to help them for emergency, right? For emergency case. But if you welcome them, sometimes have a questions, or how long you can you can take care of them. Sometimes it's very hard. It's very hard for the beginning, right? And then what kind of your suggestion to this case or your idea about this case study?
Personally, I would, if I were library like a owner, if like there's this kind of a problem, I would contact like the maybe higher like women officers who work in a higher position, like who may have the authority to like control the ongoing situation outside the library, and then so they will know that there's this kind of problem going on, and after dealing with the people outside, they can like make shelters or places that could prevent this kind of situation from happening in the future.
Yeah. So according to your opinion, maybe the librarian can consult with social service worker or even kinds of government authority to deal with this case instead of them. Yeah. So maybe it's very difficult, right, to make a decision like that, because sometimes, yeah, we need like a policy, right, to deal with the emergency case or even sign of the crisis whatsoever in the library building, or even schools or university in general, right? So, yeah, should be your suggestion. So that's why I give you the link that you can read it later again. They have the Librarian's Guide to Homelessness. Yeah, to homelessness, the advice for managers and leaders. And you can see some kinds of guidelines, some kinds of helpful suggestions or useful suggestions to the homelessness people, or the people they have a problem and they become the library user as well. So it's a very good issues, right? That is quite have a discussion or talking about the roles of the libraries in the present. Can be everything to help or to solve the social problems or economic problems as well. But in general, for the library, sometimes I would say they can help to solve, help us solve economic problems as well. Especially when we can't find money to buy new books, or even we have some kinds of book circulation. They allow users to borrow books, right? So they help them save money and save their budget. Yeah, many times. And yeah, just like Mark just mentioned earlier, sometimes it becomes an emergency shelter, or even the public space that every people can join or can have some kinds of services, or some kind of facilities that they deserve. They should have one. And there are many suggestions or many kind of instruction that we can follow the case. So this is a case study, but I pick up the movie as a case to invite Non and Mark to join and discuss about the case study research, right? So yeah, when you watch the movie, you become the observer, right? You observe the people in the library, and maybe from the CCTV or closed circuit TV, sometimes it's quite easy. But in real life, you have to ask them for consent first. As a research ethics, you have to ask for consent, the consent from them first. So this is a real case study, and I try to say, oh, you got the case, and when you find or you generate case findings and you produce case finding, now you have to make the librarian's guide, to the homelessness, and any kinds of thing like that. So this is your research benefits to the audience or to the people, right? That you try to, when you develop the research proposal, it's not just about the academic benefit, right? But you have to think about practical benefit or practical advantage in real life or in practice that your research result can solve or can have a contribute to these kinds of solution. Okay. So, and now it's time to have a break first for 5 or 7 minutes, and we will talk about the creative research methods later. Thank you. Just have a short break for 5 minutes to 7 minutes. So it's time to move to the another research method we call, I would say, creative research methods. But for the creative research method, let me type something to clarify our idea first. Yeah, so I wanna annotate something on the screen. We call creative research method, or some they say art-based. And some they call visual research. So it's the same thing. Let me give you some example why we need another qualitative research method like a creative or art-based or visual research. Let me show you some example. We got some kinds of vulnerable group or vulnerable people or sensitive group that sometimes it's very hard to interview them directly. The good example is children, young student, little kids. She can't even tell you something in details, right? It's quite hard. You have to get permission from their parents first, and sometimes, especially for kids in the kindergarten, and you have to interview them. So it's very hard to have a interview protocol or interview questions, right? As you do it with the adults or general people. So that's why new research method just emerge again. So they say creative research method or arts-based research methods, right? And one thing I think I used to have this kind of method is become a thesis committee member for our student maybe 4 days ago or 5 days ago now. They have some kinds of visual research or aspect research. They collect the data from museum visitors, from museum visitors. And instead of interview the visitors directly, they just give them the camera and, allow the visitor to take photos they love or represent their ideas or their opinions about, the museum exhibitions. So I think it's a good way to, to collect the data about museum visitors without any conversation. You just give them a camera, a small camera, take the pictures, and then after the visitors go around and finish, looking some kinds of exhibits or exhibitions around the museum, and they just show and explain why they take those pictures or those photos. I think it's a good way to collect the data about museum visitors' behavior. Because, if you take the photos a lot about this exhibit title or about the curation, right? I think they say the curated, the curated content in the museum. Maybe they can, explain something about what visitors look at the museum exhibition. So no need to ask them directly, right? Or person to person. Just give them a camera and let their photos tell the story. I think it's a good idea to do that thing, right? So they apply arts-based or creative research method to that situation, try to improve museum visitors or improve museum visitors experience. Yeah, I think it's a good way to do that thing. Anything else you want to share in real life that you see creative research methods or aspects like that, like this? You want to share from the real thing or the real world, in the real world? None. Have you seen anything or any kinds of research, creative research method, like I tell you?
I'm trying to think of one, but I have no idea.
Okay.
So you mean the method about is a visual method, or is
Yeah,
it also created?
like a visual method or creative research method as well. Arts-based, they have allow people to take photo, allow people to draw pictures of something to tell about their feeling or their ideas or their opinions instead of
Art-based.
interview. Yeah, instead of the interview. Have you
Mm,
seen this?
I think one thing I haven't seen is like is about like a communication style research. And for example, it is like one instructor, he is giving the instruction to the two people, and he just say the things to draw on the board.
Yeah.
So that two guys are separately draw, but the information is coming only from the one. So it's like the one instructor. But the research finds the way of giving information is not very detailed. Even one soldier is given the or the same information, the drawing picture by two people are different. So this is what we have been experienced about how to say the visual display. Even the same input, the people perceived it, and the people behavior, the people thinking and making decision on the information is different. So I've been trying that kind of thing. And another thing is creating a dashboard. Taking the information from this visual information.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Oh, sorry, I just show you some kinds of my research. I think. Yeah, and give you something. I'm sorry, I forgot about my own research. Maybe it's 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, I think 3 or 4 years ago. Okay, share with the chat box. This is my research. Yeah, I try to analyze the contents of photo contest in library, and they the library have offer the photo contest, and I just collect the data from that contest and analyze the photos just to look at the some kinds of aspect they think about the library, and I will show you the full text. Yeah, this is my research paper. Yeah, and I found that the winning photo, they take, as you can see, Mark, if you get a chance, known as well, if you get a chance, it's our arts library, right? It's our faculty library, Faculty of Arts library. This is the first one. This is a place that Chulalongkorn University student always take the picture. This is I will say this is the first university library. Yeah, I mean in Thailand as well. So it's quite a classical, and even have a value for arts. They have some kinds of cultural heritage as well. So, and I try to analyze the photos, the qualities of library space, like functional, accessible, varied, interactive content. Yeah, I use the theory of library quality to to explain, or to rely. I rely on the theory of library quality to analyze the content of the photo, and and this my my research results that show up that this kinds of what kind of the quality of libraries can be. But I pick up a photo contest, but to be fair, this photo contest sometimes they take a beautiful, right? It's a beauty, some kinds of they set up the camera and looking for colorful and very good angle, the perspective. Yeah, that's fine. This is art-based research method, right? But as a researcher, you didn't take photos by yourself, right? You just pick up third parties materials to analyze the data. This is it's a example from me. So this is I would say this is some kinds of visual method as well. If you wanna read for more detail, just click on the link. Yeah, long time ago. Yeah, they use a visual research method. And the another thing is ask-based. Let me give you some example, especially for when you collect data from kids. They just ask kids to drawing something, right, on the canvas, on the paper. For me, what art-based research that impressed me is about education. They just ask students to draw pictures about their school, and they just want to they just draw some kinds of one kid or one student from the primary school. They draw yourself carry heavy stone on her shoulder. That is if you ask her directly, ask the little girl directly, it's very hard to tell us as a researcher, right? Adult researcher. It's very hard to tell us. So that's why the researcher give them a pen or pencil and draw about their feelings in the school, and they found this kinds of little girls study hard in the primary school. In the primary school, they study hard and they carry hopes from parents, teachers, and they just draw or illustrate her burden by drawing a big stones she carries on her shoulder. That is a sad story, right? And then then they try to have some kinds of visual research or ask-based research method to get the data from vulnerable people or even sensitive case from the sensitive case. This is another example that it's quite catchy for me. it's a very good one. Just let little girl to draw something and tell you something. But anyway, for the visual research, sometimes I would say it's very hard to validate or make our results more reliable, right? Because sometimes, just like I said, you just sympathize a little girl, right, who draw a big stone on her shoulders, to carry the stone on her shoulder, and you get sympathy, and what a pity, and maybe sometimes you cry with her because you try to understand her feelings, but if you can get by it easily, and it's quite a sensitive case to do that thing. Or even at the moment, some kinds of user experience, right? And they give you some post-it, 3M post-it to post on the wall, right? So this is the kind of communication based, just Mark says, like a ask based, communication based, or visual research methods as well. We do a lot of things about this, but anyway, just like this article, they talking about use visual research like a complementary method or alternative methods as well. Maybe if you do research on little kids in primary school, you ask her to draw or ask them to draw pictures, and you must interview their parents as well, right? At the same time to check and balance and try to, you know, go around and check around the evidence that you get. So sometimes they use research method or ask-based research method as a complementary or alternative. This is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, we normally think about it's like a verification process. And
yeah,
validation. Yeah, because of one we interview with the children, the children's, the way they answer, the way they respond might be confused and also loss of information. Sometimes when we are interviewing at the school, we verify with the teacher. So what do they mean about that? And also so for the children who is under 18, normally we also add the consent from the guardian or teacher or their parent in first.
Sometimes we choose these kinds of method because of it's hard to describe inwards. So that's why we have that. But anyway, yeah, just remind that we many times we use this as a complementary or only alternative methods to some situations that's very hard to describe inwards. So you pick up some kinds of art base or take a photo, right? Or even analyze the visual data or analyze the photos and let the people draw something in the paper or on tablet. Okay. And it's time for you and Non to practice by yourself. Sorry. I give both of you in class activity again. Class activity again. Do the question first. I bring you to the field of library and information science, and one big problem about library and information professional is their image. It's when you think of a librarian, what image comes to mind? So sometimes it's in psychology they say stereotype. The first thinking that you're thinking about some careers or some jobs or some work, right? You have the stereotype in mind. So just like I would say, if I talking about the doctor, right? You have a stereotype that's a serious guy who wear eyeglasses and wear, a ground cloth, right? White ground, and have some kinds of hearing devices to check up your heart, something like that. This is a stereotype. So how about librarian? Right. So there are many examples of visual research methods in our field. Like, I give you 4 links that you can read them later again about 50 fictional librarians, and they try to rank some kinds of librarians in the movies or in the series, and they, have photographs the library, right? The interesting thing should be this one. It's a stereotype of librarian representation. And next we will test your stereotype on the librarian's representation as well. Non and Ma, I want to know how do you feel about librarian's image? So I borrow some kinds of the theory of librarian stereotype to test your understanding or your worldview, right? Or your perspective. So be ready. Click at this link. Don't hurry, just sit back and think about the picture or the photos carefully. Ask and reply me or answer me which best fit the librarian physical appearance. This is a small scale, easy one to do visual research about librarian stereotype. So let's go.
About the last, I selected one article from Corpus that leads me to the actual source. It's like it seems Portuguese. So maybe I would like to send you to like check that it can be used or not.
You mean the sources of the article?
Yeah, the title of the source.
Or the title. Sometimes you have to read abstract of the article to make sure that they use kind of the methods that you do a reading assignment. So we are lucky, right? Because at the present, in the present, I mean, many quality journals, they have some kind of, very informative abstract that they have some kinds of, methods and results. They describe method and results in the abstract as well. So you can not just only the article title, but you can read the article abstract carefully to make a decision that this is the right paper for you for the reading assignment or not. Sometimes, yeah, I agree. Sometimes the title is not enough for you to judge or to choose or pick up the article that maybe suit your purpose for the assignment. Sometimes you have to read the abstract first.
Yeah, Dan, I just sent in the chat. It's
okay.
Yeah, when it seems Portuguese, but I like there's an option to translate into English, and when I read it in English, it seems like qualitative and then used like a documentary research. But when I first got there, it's like it's Portuguese.
Oh, I see. If possible, you can choose the English because the translation sometimes we have some kind of cultural gaps. We can't. Yeah, as you can see, when you translate the English text into Thai text, sometimes they can't cover everything that's described in the article. You have to take it carefully. You have to be aware of the cultural gap or even language gaps that you try to translate. But be careful. If I want to suggest you should change to the language of the article that you can read. And you say that. But if you can read Portuguese, this is okay. But if you can't, I think it's quite risky to use the translator to use the translation tools to do that thing for you. I think it's quite risky for me. if it's possible, you can change better, because if you fluent in English but you can't read Portuguese, I think it's not good for you, because sometimes, just like I say, language barriers or even cultural gap, I think it's not good for you to choose the paper that you can't read. Okay, this is hurt your feeling, make you disappointed. No, if you can't read, or if you can understand what they say, I mean from the native language or first language, maybe it's not good for you to do that thing. Even at the moment we have a very smart translation tools, but don't do that. It's just not, maybe it's a wrong way to choose that thing. Change the article, please, if you can.
โอเคครับ
ครับno.
Okay.
And and you can send the new article's title to me, and I will give you some feedback. Help you to choose the article for the first assignment first. That will make you feel better to choose that thing.
I will send you the new one when I find it.
Okay, I wait for you. Waiting for you. Okay,ครับ. And Mark, you not have any kinds of problem at the moment, right? So it should be, that's it for today. And we got a sad news because we have the second assignment after we finish case study and creative research methods today. Okay,ครับ. And see you next time. Maybe Mark, we can see you in Bangkok, right? Next week. Okay. Non and Mark, see you in Bangkok in in the faculty of arts next week ครับ
ครับอาจารย์
ครับผม see you, bye bye, thank you for your participation, for your bye bye ครับ
บ๊ายบายครับ